Hey guys, Brandon here. I see Fungi. Let's make agar at home. I'm gonna make two different recipes here, and I'm gonna show you two different ways how to do them both. So first, let's start with grain water. Grain water is one of my favorite recipes. What you do is you soak your grains and then you boil them like you normally do before you would if you were making jars or bags. Except the water that you boiled them in is not waste. You can use it to make a nutrient broth agar. So here I have my 500 milliliters of grain water, and then I have my agar. Now, the recipe that I like to use for these is roughly 8 to 10 grams of agar per 500 milliliters. So I don't really like a really hard agar. I like it to kind of be soft. If it's too hard, then sometimes the spores or the tissue sample just has a difficult time taking off. So right there I've got 8.5, and we're gonna just go ahead and take that 8.5 of the agar and pour it in here. And what we're going to do with this particular one is we're going to put it in the microwave and bring it to a boil, and then we're going to shake it up some more. Now if you put this stuff in the microwave, or if you do it on the stove, do not leave it whatsoever. It will boil over and you're going to have a huge mess. So just stay with it. It only takes a few minutes. Try not to get distracted. So take the cap and just slightly loosen it just a bit, and we'll go ahead and put that in the microwave. Now, one of my other favorite recipes is brown rice flour. Now what's cool about the brown rice flour is you can just get this from the grocery store. There's Bob Mills, there's this Arrowhead, but ultimately it's the same. It's organic brown rice flour. Now you're going to run into some issues with sediment with grain or brown rice flour. Most typical agar recipes call for 20 minutes. If you're using grain or brown rice flour, you want to go ahead and push that to 25 minutes, 30 minutes tops, so that you make sure that everything's properly sterilized. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So for this recipe, it's about the same. I don't really like to load it up with nutrition. I like the mycelium to search, and if there's just too much nutrition, it kind of maybe could stall that initial growth, because all the food's right there and we want it to stretch and to grow and look for its food source. So even though I'm doing 500 milligrams, I'm not going to do 10 grams of brown rice flour. I'm going to do about 8. So I've even done like 7.5 before, but that's 8.1, which is fine. And we'll just take this brown rice flour and we'll put it in here. Actually, I'm going to be showing you guys a different way with this one. So with this one, we're going to cook it on the stovetop, because you can do the microwave or you can do the stovetop. Either one is fine. So we'll take the water. This is spring water here. I'll just put it in there, 500 milliliters. And then we'll pour in the brown rice flour. Now I know I mentioned I like to sometimes do a little bit less to make a softer agar, as in like 8 grams. But if you're going to do it on the stove top, you're going to lose some of it. You're going to lose some of it on the sides, and you're going to lose some of it on the spoons. So if you're doing the stove top method, go ahead and just add a little bit more. And for me, a little bit more, since I usually do around 8.5 of agar, is I'm going to do the normal recipe of 10.5. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is once you lose it and you go to pour your plates, they're not going to solidify. There won't be enough actual agar in there, and they're going to be liquid, and you've wasted your time. There are other recipes such as malt. Malt is the industry standard in mycology, and most mushroom farms are using malt agar plates, which is fine. A lot of species like that. Some species don't really particularly like that, so that the growth is not as fast as you would like, or they may even just stall out and not germinate at all. For example, I have some other ones here. This is light malt extract, and if you're going to use light malt extract, which is a little bit different than the regular malt extract, this is my third favorite recipe. Make sure you get it in a container like this, or you put it in a container like this, because what happens is it's going to get exposed to air, and then it's just going to harden up, and it's a waste. There's nothing I can do with this. It's just, I wanted to show you guys. If you're going to order it, make sure you order it and get it in a bottle as soon as possible, or just go ahead and order it in a bottle. And that's light malt extract for one of my third favorite recipes. So we're going to go ahead and turn the stove on and bring that to a boil with our 8.5 grams of brown rice flour and our 10.5 grams of agar. Due to the fact that we're going to lose some of the agar in the process, it's going to just be on the spoon here. You'll be able to see it gel up, and you'll probably see some on the bottom of the pan. So while that goes ahead and gets to a boil, we're going to start the microwave, and we'll just put it on 4 minutes and try to keep an eye on it. We'll do a little bit of multitasking so you guys can see both ways here. So say you don't have these flasks. I got these off of Amazon here. I paid about 18 bucks for one, and I think I caught them on sale. They had a sale for 2 or something, 2 for a better price, and I copped that. But you can absolutely use a beer bottle or any other type of bottle. Just probably want to make sure you pull the labels off before you go ahead and stick it in the pressure cooker. If you're going to have to use a bottle like this, you're going to take a napkin once you have the broth poured into here, and just put that in there, and then you want to go ahead and cover it with foil. So if you're going to be using a bottle like this, you're probably going to have to do the stovetop method. I'm not sure if it's going to fit in your microwave, so just something to be aware of. I have used bottles like this before when I was in Jamaica. Was sent there to grow mushrooms for a company, and I didn't have the resources that I have here, so I had to use what I was able to gather, and I made my agar plates in red stripe bottles, so they definitely work. Another thing, while everything's getting up to temperature, is you want to make sure you pour your water up to the height of the agar when it's inside the bottle, because that's going to help prevent boil over once it starts to cool down. So make sure that you have this at a proper height. The normal instructions for this is 3 quarts, and that's fine for most of the recipes. But when you're doing the agar, you just want to have it a little bit higher so that you don't get that boil over. Why do you want to know agar? Because agar gets you in the game all the way. See, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's starting to boil over. You want to keep an eye on it, as I mentioned, or you're going to have a freaking mess. Okay. Let's see here. We can start shaking that. Anyways, you want to learn agar because it gets you in the game all the way. You don't want to have spore syringes and all kinds of syringes and stuff like that coming to your house all the time. Plus, they don't last as long. A spore syringe, a year and a half. You might get lucky and hear people who've used them longer than that. But typically, they will last nowhere as long as a spore print. Spore prints are much more discreet to ship, and they're much more easier, and you don't have to pay for any type of special shipping. Just throw it in an envelope. Happy birthday, you got a spore print. Spore prints last a very long time if properly stored, sometimes often up to 10 years. So learning how to work with spore prints is ideal, because on the agar you can see the contamination. You can cut off away from the contamination and put it onto a new plate. And also, say you're outside and you find a mushroom that's growing on wood, like lion's mane for an example. We already know that lion's mane is easy to cultivate indoors, or oysters. So you can clone that tissue sample out of that mycelium on the petri dish and start to regrow it yourself. And it's cool because we need to keep the wild strains in the mix. We don't want them to get too domesticated. It's good if we have some domestication in some aspects, as far as if we're looking for particular characteristics, but we always have to go back to nature and gather again new. So agar is the way to go. This stuff is really simple. Like that green water here is done. We're just waiting on this to get up to a boil. And you can see there how I was talking about how you would lose some. And you want to keep an eye on this because it will boil over. Alright, see here, starting to get to a boil now. So just keep our eye on it. We need to go ahead and take it off. No need to prove anything because I'm not trying to make a mess. This is the brown rice flour and the agar. Now I'm often working with multiple recipes at once. I might have these two, grain water, brown rice flour, the light malt extract. I might make a sawdust agar. I might make an agar with poo, with horse poo. Just depends on what I'm trying to do. Some species respond better to food that they're already accustomed to eating. You can train them. You can show them how to eat new food. You can split the plate up half and half, so to say, and direct them to a new food source. But just starting out, let's just keep it simple. So that's done there, and what we'll do is we will take the bottle, and I got a funnel here. You'll need a funnel if you're going from stovetop. This stuff is too hot, and if you don't have medical insurance, then you could be in trouble if you burn your hand really bad. So just play it smart. Go to the dollar store and get a funnel. All right, so that's done. Now, I like to use a food coloring. You do not have to use a food coloring. Some food colorings are even recommended not to use. It just depends. So like for example, I have green in here. If you don't know what the contamination looks like, then don't use green. There's all the mold and the bacteria comes in all colors anyway. There's black pen molds, there's green molds, there's red lipstick molds, there's yellow bacteria, whatever. The more you do this, the more you're going to be able to get used to knowing the difference between the mycelium and an invader. So for this brown rice flour agar, I'm actually going to do a purple here. And for my grain water agar, I'm gonna go with the black. And it just helps me keep up with what I have on the plates. So now what we'll do is give them one more good shake and we'll get them ready to go in the pressure cooker. Okay. And shake up this purple. Sorry if I got y'all earthquaking. But I'm gonna show the method as is. You will take this cap and you'll just loosen it just a tiny bit. You don't want it super tight. So just loosen it just a bit. And we'll take our foil. There's number one. And there's number two. Remember to make sure you have your pressure cooker to the right height of water so that it helps prevent the boil over as it cools. And make sure you have a scale. Don't get in the mycology without a scale. You're gonna need a scale. There's no way around it. So make the investment. The biggest investment that you're gonna deal with is this pressure cooker right here. It's very annoying that this has become a gatekeeper. Just a few years ago, before the world went crazy, I was able to get this pressure cooker off of Amazon for $70, and that included shipping. To date, this same pressure cooker is $140 with shipping. I don't get it. It's stupid. Don't let that stop you from obtaining a pressure cooker. This is a 23-quart pressure cooker, and it lasts for years, so it's worth the investment. My friend found one of these 23 quarts at a Goodwill. So search, hit the Goodwills up, get on the marketplaces, hit the in search of, and make sure that you can find what you need so that you can get the stuff done that you want to get done. These are a very, very good investment. So count your pennies, save your dollars, and buy one of these things. That's it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and put the top on here. See what it lines up to a certain spot. What'll happen is, here in a moment, this is gonna start steaming out hot air. That's gonna steam out hot air for 10 minutes. Once you can actually visibly see it, start the timer for 10 minutes. Okay? Once you've done that for 10 minutes, you'll put the cap on like such, and then the pressure will start to rise. Once the pressure's got to 15 psi, that's when your actual timer starts. None of the timer has started yet. You'll you'll pressure cook this for 25 to 30 minutes, and then it's done. And then you have to wait for the agar to cool to roughly 117 degrees to 123 degrees, and it's ready to pour. And that's warm to the touch. Roughly, it's still a little warm, so don't burn yourself. We'll go over all that in other videos, but I wanted to show you guys the process of making the agar. 2 different recipes, 2 different ways. So get into agar now. No more delays. Stop with the Uncle Ben. Stop with the PF Tech. Let's go. So I see fungi. Do you?